Hello and welcome. His campaign slogan was, "Yes, we can," and now the question is, will he? In spite of his promise to bring change, Democratic President-elect Barack Obama faces a daunting list of challenges on political, social and economic fronts. Now that the celebrations in the United States and around the world have quietened down, reality has set in. America is involved in 2 ongoing wars and is suffering from a major financial crisis at home. Judging by the way the vote went, Barack Obama has a mandate for change and a Democratic majority in both the Senate and the House of Representatives. But the question remains, how much change can we expect? And just how much has America been renewed with these elections? Remember, you can join our conversation with your questions and comments. Log on to livestation.com/AJE. Download the software allowing you to enter the chat room and then take part. We also welcome phone calls on the show. Well, joining us for this program is a great American thinker who, in the closing days of the election race, endorsed Barack Obama after initially urging voters to back third-party candidate Ralph Nader in states that were solidly Democratic. Howard Zinn is an award-winning historian, political scientist, playwright, activist, and prominent anti-war critic. He's also Professor Emeritus of Political Science at Boston University and a prolific writer, having authored around 20 books, including A People's History of the United States. That classic work examines the continuing conflict between the elite population and the masses throughout American history. Professor Zinn, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you for inviting me.
A pleasure, sir. Now, at one point during the campaign, you referred to Barack Obama as the lesser of 2 evils. So is that what the American people are getting, the lesser of 2 evils? Or does it mean more of the same for the country?
Did I say that?
It seems so.
Well, it's possible that I did, but no, I don't consider Barack Obama an evil. So listening to that, it doesn't strike me as right. But very often, I and other people on the left have talked about the fact that the American people are forced to choose in their choice between a Democrat and a Republican, are forced to choose the lesser of the 2 evils. That is, we have seen the Democrats and the Republicans both do evil things. That is, both get us into wars and both maintain an economy that serves the rich. However, I wouldn't use that term in relation to Barack Obama. There's no question in my mind that he is a dramatic improvement over what we have had in the White House so far. Now, he is still, of course, a Democrat. He is still subject to the cautions, the cautiousness, the timidity that has plagued the Democratic Party for so long.
Right.
So it remains an open question how far Obama will break from the policies of the United States.
Right. Well,
there's no doubt that there will be change.
Yeah, Professor, that's what I was wondering, is the expectation too high? You know, is too much hope being placed on his shoulders? Are people expecting more or less a miracle cure now he's in?
Well, I'm not sure about people expecting too much. In fact, I think it is probably good that the people who voted for Obama expect a lot of him, because I think these high expectations may spur him to meet those expectations, may spur him to go beyond those policies, those cautious policies, which so far he has espoused in the course of the campaign. And if he doesn't measure up to those expectations, there'll be great disappointment in the electorate. So I think it's good for those expectations to exist as a kind of provocation to Obama.
Well, sir, it must be particularly satisfying for you to see America take such a big step and elect an African-American to the presidency when you spent so many years in the civil rights movement fighting for the rights of African-Americans. In terms of what it means historically, is it as significant, do you think, as people are saying?
Oh, no question. No question. The election of an African-American at this point in history is enormously significant. And it's a kind of affirmation of the struggles that black people have been through for so long. It is the first time in American history that we have had such a thing happen. And I was watching on television watching the, of course there were black people and white people exulting, but for black people, obviously, there was a special moment of triumph. And on the screen were pictures of students at Spelman College, which is where I taught for 7 years in Atlanta, Georgia. And these are young black women who were cheering and so happy to see the victory for Obama. So, yes, a historic moment after so many struggles.
Well, sir, I'm going to get a call on the line from Tunisia. Nice to hear from Tunisia. Deepa's with us. Go ahead with your question, please.
Liz, good evening.
Hi, go ahead.
Question for the professor.
Please.
Professor,
good
evening. Do you think Hillary would have made a better presidential, elect at this point of time? What is your take on
Hillary Clinton, okay.
Yeah.
Do I think that
Hillary Clinton would have been a better president-elect at this time?
Yes.
who?
Well, that's what the professor, the caller was asking. Deepak was asking, do you think that perhaps Hillary Clinton might have made a better president-elect at this stage?
No, I do not think so. Hillary Clinton was too much of a militarist. Hillary Clinton had voted for the war in Iraq, and Hillary Clinton consistently has been pro-military. She changed her tune when she began running for office because she sensed that the American people had turned against the war. But I would not trust Hillary Clinton to be a peace-loving president or to withdraw American military forces from other countries, which I hope Barack Obama is prepared to do.
Okay.
And we've had experience with Hillary Clinton. We've had experience with her and her husband, and the experience was not a good one.
Okay, Joseph's on the line from Texas here in the U.S. Joseph, thanks for being with us. Your question, please. Go ahead, Joseph.
Hello, can I please introduce myself first?
Yes, go ahead.
I'm coming from Hoboken, Texas, and I consider myself a white American Christian, and I'm very unsatisfied with the elections because Mr. Obama is not white, he ain't American, he ain't no Christian. Now, I think it's a problem for a Texas man like myself that owns a lot of farms in Texas and like to have derbies going on them.
Basically, Joseph is expressing a distaste at the election of Barack Obama. I have to ask you, referring to some of the issues you raised about the election of the first black person into the presidency, do you feel, I mean, as some critics say, that he's not black enough? I mean, is Barack Obama black enough for you, being biracial?
Is he black enough?
Right.
I think he's just black enough, that he's part black and part white. The American nation is part black and part white. I mean, the non-white population of the United States is now perhaps 30%. Not long from now, the non-white population will be a majority. So Obama, being half African, half white American, I think is a perfect representative of our country, and therefore a very welcome addition to the international community, which, after all, is mostly non-white.
Well, sir, you know, we have, obviously, the economic shape of America leaves President-elect Obama in a very difficult position as far as imposing some, or, creating some kind of change. And this email that came in from Dubai, from Jessica, is an intriguing one. Jessica writes in saying, neither a socialist approach nor free market economy are clear visions for a way out of America's economic meltdown. Do you think Obama will devise a quasi-neo-socialist approach to solving the crisis?
I think we ought to start moving away from discussions about whether his program is socialist or not, because there's too much misunderstanding about what socialism is. And so the word socialism has come to mean many, many things to many people, and to many people socialism means, the Soviet Union and dictatorship and bureaucracy, and to other people it means some sort of very centralized government. I think it's better not to use those terms, but I do think that certainly capitalism, unregulated capitalism, or what a recent pope called savage, unbridled capitalism, will not do. Capitalism has not solved the problems that we have in the world of the rich controlling so much of the world's resources. Capitalism has, I believe, failed. And so there's a capitalism that has failed. There's a socialism, if you think that socialism is a sort of dictatorial and bureaucracy. That certainly has not been viable. But I think what we need is a situation where we get away from these slogans of socialism and capitalism and ask what makes common sense. What makes common sense is that the free market, the so-called free market, unbridled capitalism, unregulated capitalism, has been disastrous for the people of the world. And we need more government intervention in the economy. We need to do what Roosevelt did in the 1930s during the New Deal, and that is to reject all those worries about, oh, the government mustn't do this and the government mustn't do that. Well, the government must do this if the private corporations will not do it. The government must create jobs when the private businesses won't do it. The government must save people from foreclosing their homes if the banks are going to foreclose their homes. Now, you can, if you want to call that socialism, you can. I call it common sense. I call it being fair. We want fairness. We want, they say redistributing the wealth is socialism. But, well, the wealth has been redistributed all the time. The wealth in the last 8, 12, 16 years has been redistributed towards the top, towards the rich. And yes, we need a redistribution of the wealth. We need an equalization.
Professor, let me ask you what you think this election says about the state of democracy in America. What does it say for what America is supposed to represent as far as being such a democratic country?
Well, the election of Obama certainly puts the United States in the position of, yes, being truly a democratic nation in the sense that, yes, Obama represents what the American people have wanted. When Bush was elected, he was not representing the will of the American people. And in fact, half of the people did not go to vote in the presidential campaign. Bush represented maybe 23 or 25% of the American people, those who voted for him. A much bigger turnout for Obama, much more representative of the American population. And so Obama's election, I think, is probably the most democratic election we've had in the United States for a long time. And it's a positive statement for American democracy.
All right. Professor, we're going to have to take a short break here, but we will be back with you in a moment. As we pause, let me remind you, our viewers, that you can join the chat room with your questions and comments by logging on to livestation.com and entering the chat room. You can see the debate taking place there right now below me. It's easy and it's a great way to be part of the program. We'll be right back.